All right. So you graduated in 88. What did you do after you graduated? Where'd you go? You moved out of the house. You moved to, were you living at home?
Well, I moved out at my parents' insistence. My parents were ready for me to move out, and they told me so. So I got my job at, I guess I was kind of slacking off in the job hunt because I was still working in retail at Camp Beverly Hills at the time. But I went out, I got help from my advisor at CSUN, Karen Kearns, and I got my job at Westwood One. I got an entry-level position at Westwood One. And it was all, I had the internship at Power 106 while I was a senior in college. I got my job at Westwood One, and it was all smooth sailing from there.
Perfect.
Spent 8 years there. Yeah, so it was only a few months after I started working there. Yeah.
Where was your first place? Where were you living?
So I lived, we grew
Next
up in
door to
Northridge.
your parents, didn't you? You were living like, you're out the door and then like moving right next door.
No, I think they wanted me a little bit further away than I cared about necessarily. I would have been fine next door. Not so much I wanted to be with them, but our worlds were small. We grew up in the San Fernando Valley. You were probably a little less sheltered than me. But I moved to Lower Northridge. And near college, I moved with a roommate, Lower Northridge.
Seriously, it's just the city right next door. So Northridge, you were in Granada Hills, your parents are in Granada Hills.
No, my parents at that time were in Porter Ranch. When I was in college, I lived in Porter Ranch. So it was in the hills, just in the mountains, just a little further north than Northridge. And then when I moved into my first apartment with a roommate, I lived in Northridge near CSUN.
Okay, so basically just Porter Ranch down the hills is Northridge. And
down the hill.
So you just lived in the flatlands of Porter Ranch.
The Porter Ranch Flats. But then the next year I kept moving a little bit further south. I moved to Tarzana and then moved over the hill because it was I had a car that had terrible gas mileage, and I was driving out to my job in Culver City from the San Fernando Valley, and a car that got 10 miles to the gallon. And so we moved, got engaged, moved to the west side of Los Angeles, a few miles from my job, and never looked back. Never looked back, only to visit parents.
Is this